Am I the asshole for having someone's car towed up with no warning? 3 years ago my 30M sister, 36F, and I had the opportunity to get out Dad, 62M. A house that was close to us after our mom passed away. Before her passing he used to be this funny, friendly and happy guy who was always making jokes and was the sunshine of our lives. But with all due reasons after my mom died he became sad and lonely. He cried almost every day and it hurt our hearts to see him like that. We lived in the next city for work and we begged him to please come with us. He refused at first because leaving the family home hurt him more than living in it, but after a while he agreed. He chose a small house just for him and his pets. We didn't rent him an apartment because he's just not that kind of guy. He has a 2016 Aveo that doesn't drive that much right now, but from time to time he likes to go back to our hometown and just spend the day in the places he and my mom used to go. Problem with this is that he can last a month or so without moving the car. He uses it more during Oktoberdeck because it was my mom's favorite time of the year, and thus his neighbors, a 25-ish married couple, uses his driveway because the dude owns 4 cars and doesn't have the space. My dad doesn't have that much of a problem since he leaves his car in the garage and told me that whenever he needs to get it out he just calls the girl and she moves the other one until a few months ago when apparently the girl is nowhere to be found and the guy is home all day. He had asked him a few times to please move the car and the dude just says, "Yeah, sure," and takes an hour or two to do so and my dad can't drive it because it's already too dark for him to see. Yesterday I went to visit him and he wanted to take me to see some sport cars, IDK men. He's like a child, that he found next to a park, like those public cars show-ups? I'm not sure. He wanted to drive his car but the neighbor had his in my dad's driveway and so he went to ask him to please move it. He said yes, but after 30 minutes of not seeing him my dad explained to me the above and I said, "No problem," and called someone to get it towed. The dude obviously freaked out when he saw what was happening and asked what the fuck was I doing. Apparently the dude doesn't have the right documentation for the car and can't get it back because he doesn't have the money. He's calling me an asshole and while my dad doesn't agree with him he doesn't agree with me too. But man, my dad was doing him a favor and he acted like an entitled prick. However, if I was wrong in my acting I'm willing to say sorry and get him his shit back. Edit. Well, I didn't expect this to blow up, but I guess I should clarify some things. 1. No, my dad didn't lost some long-ass relationship or agreement. The guy started to park his car there 2 years ago. He just came one day, said, "Hey, it's okay if I leave this for a while," and it's been 2 years since. My dad didn't like it, but he didn't want to have more problems and since he only used the car a few times per year he just let it pass because the girl always moved it in time. 2. He used to complain to my sister and I how he wasn't able to run errands from time to time. He never mentioned his neighbor or the car there. I just thought that it was because he forgot about them or he forgot which buses took him to the places he needed to get. After the incident I asked him about the situation and he usually missed some quick runs to the store for food or personal items. 3. Guys, even if my dad wants to take his car out for something that could take him a 2 minutes walk he's entitled to. He's a 62-yo man who has worked since he was 13. He shouldn't be walking long or short distances just because some 25-ish doesn't want to get up when he's asked to. My dad is more than kind and since he's sad all the time he just doesn't want to fight. That didn't mean he was okay with the situation. He used to go 2-3 times to ask him to please move it because it was getting dark and he just didn't. Yeah, I didn't ask a second time, but I won't apologize for that. 4. My dad didn't like that I said, "I can get you your shit back if you honestly apologize to my dad." He told me to get fucked and I said I won't get him anything then, but I know my dad. I know he's happy to not have to deal with that car in his driveway anymore. The neighbor isn't mad at him anyway, he's mad at me. Not the asshole. He was asked politely, didn't do it, so he has to handle the consequences. Not your fault his paperwork wasn't in order, sucks to be him. Not the asshole. This guy was obviously taking advantage of your father's kindness. By your own account this isn't the first time this guy has taken his time to move the car and left your dad stuck. Clearly being nice wasn't working. He was disrespectful and now he has to deal with the consequences. Not the asshole. I get the ESH and the YTA comments but come on. The dad is clearly non-confrontational. They legit abused his generosity twice. He did nothing after the first time and let it be. If his son hadn't done anything, it would have continued to be like it. The neighbor is legit at the house and ignores the dad and makes him wait when it's a favor. So because of the disrespect to his generosity, it's fair for his son to do this. Not the asshole. People will always take advantage of kindness. I hope your dad learns from this event. Oops. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Not the asshole even in the slightest. Not the asshole. You gave him a warning, that's what the "please move your car" was. How many times are you supposed to ask? Also, it's not your fault he's in possession of the car unlawfully and now he's in a bind. I'll bet the reason it was in the driveway and not on the street is because of that pesky paperwork issue. Which is, again, not your fault. Not the asshole your dad was being held hostage at his own home. Not the asshole. Using someone else's driveway is a privilege. If they ask you to move your stuff, you move your stuff. Having it towed was absolutely appropriate. The neighbor was taking advantage of an elder. Am I the asshole for making TikToks of a bully at school to debunk the hateful stuff she says? I am a high school student, and there's this girl at school who talks a lot of shit about me for being gay. It's pretty gross, but the teachers don't do a lot. I get the idea some of the teachers don't exactly disagree with the shit she says. It is not a very progressive area. My school makes us use clear or mesh bags so we can't hide anything, but it has actually helped me film the girl because I can just put my phone in my bag facing out. Anyway, I made a couple TikToks of her most funny, homophobic hot takes, just random super uninformed shit she says. Like so wrong it's funny. Like saying shit about gay women being into girls peeing or their moms. WTF, over each video. I caption it with corrections, like trying to debunk misinformed homophobic stuff. A couple of the videos blew up, even though it's pretty shitty to deal with at school. I guess people find it funny to watch someone be such a dumbass. Here's where I might be kinda an ass. I have started baiting her into saying dumb shit a little bit. Like wearing a pride shirt when I know she will be in class, or saying something in sex ed class about how the education they're giving isn't really applicable to a decent chunk of the population. Both those times she had shit to say about that, especially the health class time. Anyway, this weekend my parents found my TikToks. One of their friends had found my account. And they wanted to know what was going on at school. I had to tell them this girl was giving me trouble at school, and I thought it would be funny to share some of the ways homophobes are super dumb and misinformed and kinda make a project of debunking the sort of shit homophobic people say to show other people who might be the target of the same shit how wrong and dumb it was. My parents didn't think it was cool or educational at all. They felt like me filming at school was the wrong way to deal. That I should tell them and a teacher, instead of what I did that invaded the girl's privacy. I said the teachers believe the same shit she does. And I felt like what I did was more useful because I was educating people on how homophobic opinions are stupid and uninformed, and honestly I didn't feel like I was invading her privacy because she was the one choosing to come up to me with this shit. She could have privacy if she simply didn't. Anyway, my school found out too, and I'm suspended for using my phone to record in school. But coincidentally school went remote again when I was suspended, and they let me in the remote classes, so there was no real impact. The girl has stopped giving me shit or even talking to me at all. I know her parents and the school have been in touch, so maybe that's related, or maybe it's just that school is remote. IDK. Am I the asshole for filming a girl bullying me at school and putting her on blast on TikTok? Edit to address common questions. I live in a state that is one-party consent for recording. I didn't break the law recording in the hallway or cafeteria or auditorium. I go to a private school which prohibits having a phone on during school. I did break a school rule by having my phone on. My school is not likely to be much help. It is a Christian school which has terms in its morality code which ban homosexual behavior. So bringing this to my school would more likely put my education at risk than help me. My parents aren't a lot of help either. They think I should pretend to be straight for the next 3.5 years of school until I graduate. Our ages. I am 15 and she is a senior in high school, so I would guess 17 or 18. Are you trying to get her doxed? No, I genuinely tried to do the opposite by editing out and censoring parts of the videos where the school logo could be seen or her name was said. Also, looking through the comments on TikTok, people aren't trying to find her. The dialogue is a lot more about people sharing their personal experiences with bullying. How does she know I'm gay? I used to date her sister and we kept it a secret, but she snuck her phone and screenshotted our texts and shared them at school. So I didn't tell her, or go flaunting that at school. I was actually trying to keep it a secret from everyone. Not the asshole. Are you showing her face while doing the TikToks? Like, let's be clear, she's an asshole here and you doing the good work of calling her shit out, but shouldn't reveal a minor on the internet even if they are a shitty person. Edit. I'm a little conflicted on this, but honestly I don't think it's fair to call you an asshole even if you are being a bit of an asshole. You're doing the right thing. You're calling out shitty behavior and creating conversation. Be careful when filming people, but don't stop your TikToks. Keep up the fight. Not the asshole. If you don't want the world to know your homophobic ways, then be quiet. Everyone sucks here except for your parents. Filming her bullshit is fine. Hate-spouting assholes should be publicly excoriated until they STF you for being an embarrassment to humanity. However, baiting her and putting a minor's face online is the asshole material for you. Once you bait, what you're trying to document has been tainted. It holds less credence. Beyond that, putting a minor's face online is always going to be problematic. Just don't do that. Not the asshole just straight up doing what's right in a place that clearly isn't tolerant. How is anything going to change if you go to the teachers when the teachers have the same views? And you don't seem willing to accept judgment, so why post? No matter what anyone says, you refuse to see that you might be wrong for posting her face, at the very least. No doubt she is awful, but this could follow her for the rest of her life and she's just a dumb kid right now and maybe deserves a chance. She's obviously been raised this way and is surrounded by authority figures that feel the same. If she goes to college and is still the same dumbass at the end, then she's fair game, haha. You will hopefully mature too and get off TikTok and live a great life. Your goal to educate is good. Your execution is wrong. Would have been not the asshole if you'd kept the bully anonymous. It's understandable why you did what you did. There's clearly a lot of Oz in your life, but what you did was wrong too. Also, you are being super argumentative with people trying to answer the question you asked. You for filming her recognizably and her for her awful homophobic ideas. Yeah, she's a shitty homophobe, but publicly embarrassing and shaming her, especially when she is easily identifiable, isn't educational for anyone. You're only serving yourself. Am I the asshole for not wanting my disabled brother-in-law at my wedding ceremony? I, 23F, and my soon-to-be wife, 25F, are getting married soon. We have been dating for 6 years now, and I can be beyond excited to marry her soon. It has been a moment we have been preparing for since COVID started, and all our guests are finally vaccinated, so we can go through with the wedding. My fiancé has a 15-year-old brother with severe Downs. He is fully nonverbal and communicates through loud screaming and cow-like mooing, my fiancé's words, not mine. My fiancé and I are excited to have him at our wedding reception. We both love him very much, he is a sweet kid. The thing is, my fiancé brought up the idea of not including him in the ceremony. Our wedding will start with the ceremony, then some drinks we made ourselves, we both work in wine breweries, and then we have a dinner reception with a small group of family and friends. For the reception we hired her brother's usual babysitter to be there for him since he is comfortable with her. We have a separate room away from the guests with toys and necessary supplies like diapers and an iPad if he needs quiet time, and we have arranged for fast food. He basically only eats French fries and nuggets, to be there for him to eat at our reception. The thing is, we were planning on leaving him out of the ceremony. Not only will there be a lot of strangers, my family and friends, which scares him, my wife and I also wanted a quiet moment for our ceremony. My dad will play violin for our music, and my fiancé thinks he should be away from the ceremony with his babysitter for an hour or so, because as stated before, he is very noisy. We have once again also arranged for him to be taken care of by his babysitter and his dad, who doesn't want to go to the ceremony because he is kinda homophobic. We have a room with toys and pillows and food and his iPad for him, to make sure he will not miss out on anything. The thing is, my Mill is super offended at this idea. She blew up at me, implying that I am trying to exclude her son, I didn't even come up with the idea, and that I am an ableist. She said that if her son is not there during the ceremony, she won't attend, which will be problematic. She is supposed to walk my fiancé down the aisle, and has threatened to tell the family on Facebook to boycott our wedding. We have tried to explain to her that it will only be for the ceremony, which will be about an hour. He is well taken care of. We spent loads of money to make sure he can also be there for parts of our wedding. He will be there for the pictures, the non-alcoholic for him, drinks, and the reception dinner. She wants to hear none of it. My fiancé is desperate. She is scared to go against her mom, as she still wants somebody to walk her down the aisle, and she is very upset that her mom is reacting this way. My friends agree with me, but I have this gnawing feeling I am still a major asshole. Am I? And #X200B. Edit. Hey there. I wanted to address some comments I got. English is not my first language, so sorry if my wording seems a little strange sometime. I should not have included the personal details about him and his disability. I never meant it in a way to dehumanize or shame him. I love my Bill, he is such a sweet and fun kid. I would never purposely try and make him feel bad, or make him feel othered him for his disability. I included those details to eliminate any questions people might ask, like how he is loud, but I did it inappropriately. I am still learning. Thanks to the people who educated me on that in the comments. I will do better. Also, my soon-to-be wife jokes around all the time with her brother. He may be nonverbal, but they have little inside jokes. The cow thing is one of them. They lived on a farm as kids, and one of the ways my brother-in-law learned was to replicate the sounds the cows made as a way to communicate. Cows are his favorite animals, and we often have movie nights where we dress up in onesies, a cow for him, and watch Disney movies with him. I realized that the comment is inappropriate out of context, and should never have been shared. Sorry again. Not the asshole, you are being considerate to your future brother-in-law so not to cause a stressful situation which could escalate. Not the asshole. One of the points you made is that brother-in-law himself would not be comfortable in the ceremony. It sounds like Mill is determined to have him there, even if he wouldn't enjoy it. Mill should probably be thinking about him as her son instead of her cause. She may think she's doing the right thing, but she's not. She needs to recognize that he has special needs and requires certain accommodations. She needs to think about his comfort, not her need to champion the developmentally disabled. Not the asshole, not in any way. You would think that Mill would be grateful for all the thought you've put into his care and that she would appreciate attending the ceremony stress-free and just enjoy herself. This is an issue between your fiancé and her mother. Let them work it out. Not the asshole. The simple question you have to ask is, what is best for him? He will not cope well with the ceremony. It's best that he is with his carer somewhere quiet. Not the asshole. I think anyone who gets married wants things to go as smoothly as possible. If your fiancé's brother is scared of strangers and gets very noisy, then I think it's reasonable to want him to sit out the ceremony. It's not like you two are saying he can't come, you, or really your fiancé, thinks it's best he is not in the room for the ceremony. I think her mom is wrong to make this a battle of, he's coming or we're not, and dragging other people into this. You and your fiancé are not wrong to want to have one day your wedding day that the focus is on you two. I'm sorry her mother is being this way. I hope things work out and you have a beautiful wedding. The parents aren't upset their son will not be part of the ceremony. They sound homophobic and doing whatever they can to sabotage the wedding. I'm so sorry. I don't think so. The ceremony is a very personal setting and it's not like you're excluding him from the wedding entirely. I hate to say this, but it's similar to not wanting a child screaming at your wedding while you're saying your vows. It sounds like you're trying to be very accommodating, which I think is great. Maybe have mom and son in the other room with a live video stream? I know she wants her son to be included, so this might be another great compromise. Am I the asshole for calling out my fiancé for lying about being a size small? Myself, 28M, and my fiancé, 27F, were recently at a dinner party with two other couples. The women were talking about various clothes stores and shopping, and whilst the guys weren't really involved in the conversation, we were all listening in. My buddy's wife Emily commented how she recently went to a clothes store where she purchased a size XS, but it was too small, so she needed to exchange it for a small. My fiancé then commented, "There's no way you'll need a small, I wear a small in that store." Now my fiancé is a curvy woman and definitely not a size small. I do all the laundry in our house and I have never seen any items that were a size small. My fiancé wears at least a large, more often an extra large. One couple exchanged a glance which my fiancé didn't notice, but Emily looked really caught off guard and kind of upset. Emily is recovering from an eating disorder which she was hospitalized for last year, and my fiancé is aware of this. I didn't say anything in front of anyone, but on the car ride home I decided to speak to her about it. I reminded her of Emily's eating disorder and said that lying about what size she wore could cause self-esteem issues for her. I said that there is nothing wrong with being the size she is, as she is gorgeous and has a great body, but said I didn't understand why she lied to everyone and said she wore a small. My fiancé went crazy at me and said I was an asshole and calling her fat. I tried to assure her that I wasn't calling her that and I loved her body and her size didn't even matter to me. I just didn't understand why she would lie, as she definitely isn't a size small in any store. I tried to explain, although it didn't matter to me, it clearly did matter to Emily, and it had confused me why she would lie, as no one even asked her what size she was. Ever since this incident, my fiancé is making a big deal out of not eating in front of me and saying she's full. I know she's eating when I'm not there though, as food goes missing from the fridge and cupboards. In my opinion, this is kind of a manipulative move from her. I know this is kind of a touchy subject for some women, so I tried to approach it as delicately as possible, but I feel awful for upsetting my fiancé. I was only trying to look out for my friend and Emily, as I know it was really difficult for them both, and Emily is still very delicate. Am I the asshole? Edit. I just want to clarify that my fiancé is an incredible woman and I love her dearly and will marry her. It's been my life goal to marry this woman. Appreciate the feedback. Maybe I could have come across like I cared more about Emily than my fiancé's feelings, but not the case. Just to clarify, my fiancé was the one who asked about Emily's size. They were talking about needing to return some things and Emily said she needed a size up because the jeans she bought were too small. That's when my fiancé asked what size. I don't think Emily was bragging about what size she was. Sorry if this wasn't clear, I was just trying to tell the story in as few words as possible. I also want to clarify that I don't track what my fiancé eats or the labels on her clothes. I meant more that if I happened to see a label, I've never seen anything less than an L. Also, if we go out shopping together, it's rare she'll grab an L, she's usually an XL. I checked the fridge and pantry to make sure she was eating, as I was concerned. It is possible that this store maybe comes up big and she's a small. It's unlikely in my opinion, but I will keep that in mind. I also just wanted to address why people are assuming that my fiancé is jealous or insecure of Emily's size just because she's bigger. My fiancé is gorgeous because she is bigger. She has an amazing figure which she has always been complimented on. I don't like the narrative that she's some sad jealous hater because she wears a bigger dress size. I agree it was odd of her to lie, but I was more concerned with my own actions than hers. Also, when I described Emily as fragile, I was referring to her mental state, not her size body. Just wanted to clarify a few things. Thumbs up. Thanks again for the feedback. Not gonna lie, that is not the conclusion I thought this was going to lead to based on the title. You did a good thing, sticking up for your buddy's wife like that. I think it's concerning that she would try and lie about such a thing without even being asked. I just can't think of any good reason to lie about that. It also sounds like she tried gaslighting and blaming you for calling her out on her lie, in a very well-handled way, it seems, instead of addressing the issue at hand. Just my personal opinion, but I wouldn't want to spend the rest of my life with her. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Because you waited to talk to her privately, and it sounds like calmly. Couples should be able to have an open and honest conversation like this. Not the asshole. Your wife is jealous of her friend. Do not tell her that though, or hell would ensue. But yeah, it's a self-esteem issue for your wife. I would just let time move past it and not mention anything again. Not the asshole. Everyone knew she was lying, she was only embarrassing herself. Not the asshole, but she is. Small has no standardized meaning in women's sizes. Not the asshole. Because Emily is recovering from a eating disorder and your fiancé put her foot in it. You need to communicate with your fiancé regarding her body issues, because a large is never small, even with vanity sizing. You're so concerned about causing self-esteem issues for Emily, but totally missing the fact that your fiancé is likely facing some self-esteem issues of her own. If your fiancé is lying about her size, you should be asking yourself, why? Maybe she feels enormous societal pressure to be a size small. Maybe this feeling is exacerbated when discussing clothing sizes with a person who is much thinner than her. Not the asshole for opening a discussion on the topic in private, but you should have done so with just as much concern for your fiancé's feelings as you had for Emily's.